This is Slam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Wojernoff and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Slam Hockey, folks. Here's your pal and host, Peter Wojernoff. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98, and I'm with
your buddy, Paul Zwambag. You can find me at Zwambag, Z-W-A-M-B-A-G. How's it going, Peter? I'm not your pal, buddy.
Well, you didn't like my intro? Pal, buddy? I want to be everybody's friend.
I'm not your buddy, pal. Okay, what's up? What's going on?
I don't know. Is it karma that somebody asks you to leave work, 10 minutes early, and then something really bad happens to you?
That sucks.
That's just bad luck, right?
Yep.
Yeah, on the way home late last night, obviously we work shooting television late till like midnight, and I left 10 minutes early. I was like, yay, 10 minutes early. I'll be home 10 minutes early. Maybe I'll go for a run, or maybe I'll relax. An extra 10 minutes. No. Instead, the gardener going to the 427. There's a guy in the middle lane. Quickly, I try to go into the fast lane. I don't see. It's really dark outside, and there's some weird dark green plastic metal debris on the road, and boom.
You were texting. You were texting, weren't you?
No, I wasn't at all. I don't do that. The only time I check my phone is if I'm at a red light. I'll do that. I will take a look at my phone if I have been texting with somebody recently or I need to use Google Maps. I'll look at my phone at a red light. I don't do it on the highway because I see so many people doing it and it annoys me, especially when they're in the fast lane or they're changing lanes all the time and they're not signaling. That bothers me a lot. So anyways, that happened. And then I got the special air in my tires, so I didn't really notice. And I knew in my mind I probably have a flat tire. But I kept on going, and my car had seen fine. I saw another guy on the other side of the road, and he had a lot of plastic containers and on his truck. I'm like, oh, it was probably that bastard. Anyway, sorry for that language. But, yeah, and then as soon as I could, I stopped, and I tried to call every number possible. I called Metropolitan Police, Toronto, GTA, then they passed me off to another department, and then that department told me to text 311, so I did that. By the time I text 311, I'm not in that area. I'm in the Brampton area. I called over 5 numbers. I was on the phone for over an hour and a half. Got me nowhere. At the end, I got, I think, 311 Toronto, and they told me it was just outside of their jurisdiction, the Gardner to the 427 North ramp bridge. And they said that's out of their jurisdiction, and that I have to call the Ministry of Transportation. And they're closed. Of course they're closed. The most important place is closed. And the main reason I'm calling is I don't want anybody else to feel how I feel or get into a worse accident. Much worse accident. Can't do anything about it. They're like, yeah, call in the morning then. Oh, that's great. I'll call in the morning.
I didn't see the debris, and I was about...
You're probably 20 minutes after me.
No, I stayed late at work last night. So.
Oh, all right. Well, good for you.
Burning the midnight oil.
Yeah. So I gotta get new tires, and I just got new ones a couple of months ago, and I actually just spent a lot of money on some new pipe and belt under my car last week, just like a week and a half ago. It's so annoying. Oh well. Well, I hope the debris didn't ruin anybody else's evening and ruin their cars, but we got lots to talk about. Paul likes to call this episode the Off Ice Happenings, or as I like to call it, maybe the boring episode. What we've got on tap, we're going to talk about the NHL awards. It happened a while ago, but we wanted to talk in basically yesterday's episode about all the, players getting traded and signed, big names. But anyways, so NHL awards, we've got the Hockey Hall of Fame, the inductees, a little bit about Vegas expansion, and of course, we will talk about the other trades that we haven't talked about yet, and signings, and then a little preview for free agency that's going to happen tomorrow, basically, as we're recording this. And so we'll have an episode next week. After a couple of days have gone, some big names have been signed, and we'll talk about that next week. All right, let's get into this. First off, the NHL awards. Paul, I was pretty good with this, wasn't I? I guessed a lot of them, right?
Yeah, you nailed the nominations and winners. Yeah, you're pretty spot on.
Hart Trophy, I think my nominees I put basically for MVP of the season. I put out Holtby, Kane, and Crosby, and they were close. And the obvious choice everybody had was Patrick Kane. He blew everybody out of the water for that award, obviously. Was it even close? I don't know. I still think Holtby should have, been close. But I don't think anybody even had him as a second thought.
Yeah, I think because of the team in front of him, that it's just like Crosby a couple of years back when they were like, well, he's got a good team around him that he doesn't deserve it as much as everybody else. So I think that's why it wasn't that close with Holtby.
I think there's something against goalies for MVP because everybody knows it's pretty much the most important piece of any team. Look what Carey Price showed the Habs in the last 2 years, how amazing they could be and how bad they can be with or without him.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't want that to revolve around the goalie every year. But anyways, the Norris, I'm not a huge fan of Drew Doughty winning. Again, everybody with their statistics and their Corsi ratings, they are in love with Drew Doughty.
Yeah.
People in Ottawa are like killing themselves. They're like, how is Karlsson not winning this thing? But again, in my mind as well, why does it always have to be about offense? And this year it wasn't, which is cool. I like that. But in my opinion, I don't know how often Doughty kills penalties, like block shots. But that's not the type of player he is, right? Takeaways, more of a two-way game, offense.
Great positioning.
Yeah, so I don't mind it, but I don't know. The way the trophy has always been with the Norris, I'm a little shocked that Karlsson didn't get it.
Yeah, and the fact that a lot of the voters that get to vote, the PHWA, I believe, got to vote the Norris Trophy. Their excuse was it's Doughty's time to win. It's like that's not the way you should be voting.
Yeah, I felt that the same way with that award because Doughty has been nominated. I'm mixing nominated and Doughty before so many times, and they're like, okay, well, we have to give it to him now. Karlsson's already won it before. It's time to just give it to him. What was the other award? It was pretty much the same thing. Was it... can't remember which award, but it was like... Maybe Kopitar for the Selke?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that would make...
It was like, it's time to give it to him because Bergeron has won it so many times.
Yeah, that...
I don't like that. The same thing happens maybe with the Oscars as well. Some guys get passed and passed and passed, and it's like, well, we have to give it to, Kevin Spacey now, or whoever the guys are that really get passed on a lot.
Yeah.
Was it DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, we have to give it to DiCaprio now, right? He deserves it. He's been nominated 7 times. So it kind of felt like that this year with Doughty for sure, and I think it was Kopitar for the Selke. Same here. I thought Kopitar was close, but you know what? Kessler is so underrated, in my opinion, in that aspect of his game. Bergeron's great, and he pretty much deserves it. Datsuk is pretty much the end of his career in the NHL. So it's past his time for winning it almost every year. Bergeron has the last few years. So yeah, I thought it seemed like it's like we'll just give it to Kopitar this year. That's a safe play.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Kopitar, that's for sure. I'm a huge fan of Kopitar, but it just felt kind of that way as well. Vezina, again, with him. With Holtby, that's right. I'm trying to look at my nominees as well at the same time as my list. He blew everybody else away.
Yeah.
There's nobody you can even compare it to.
That was a given. You might as well not even make nominations. He was number one, easily.
Yeah. Ben Bishop was very good, but he was a far number 2, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then what else do we have out there? Did you not like Panarin winning?
I was okay with Panarin winning.
I think it seemed like a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
Just because of his age.
Yeah. But
right?
it's in the rules. It's the regulation. It's always been that way. So why all of a sudden has it changed?
It would have been cool, though, to see the rookie group, especially those 3 that were nominated, Ghost Bear, Goddess Beer, and McDavid, if they had played at least 20 games more, both of them.
Yeah.
Right? It would have been so much closer, and it would have been probably McDavid's year, for sure, if he had played a whole season.
Yeah.
But Panarin was outstanding. There is no MVP Kane without the way Panarin played and the way they clicked all season long.
Yeah.
It kind of sucked. They weren't as good during the playoffs, but Elliott was just too on fire, and St. Louis, bared down on them. But they were both amazing. They both deserved to win the Calder and the Hart. I think we pretty much went over the other ones with, like, the Jack Adams. Trotz won it, and we both had Trotz up there. And with the other coaches, you had Rutherford because of the turnaround that he had with the Pens.
Yeah.
It's hard. Again, in my opinion, it's so hard to give the award to a coach that wasn't there all year.
Yeah.
So the safe bet was Trotz because of what Washington did during the season. And again, it's hard to give these awards away to what players have done during the season and what they do in the playoffs. Right? These aren't playoff awards at all.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter at all. That's why at least they do the nominees pretty much right after the season's done. So that's good. We know that shouldn't be a factor with the playoffs. And again, with the GM award, Rutherford wins. And I think maybe the playoffs had a lot to do with it. In my opinion, it just felt kind of like it. I don't know how the voting goes exactly.
I'm pretty sure it's the same as
all
at
the
other
same time.
Yeah.
Right when they got that's what I was wondering about too. So if they do that right when they get nominated, it kind of just feels weird that we've already done all this voting. It just happened 3 months ago.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much how it is, and it was a good pick then.
Yeah.
They all picked Rutherford to win.
Yeah.
And did they see Did they all see that the Pens were going to win?
I think it was just because the way he constructed his team, he made changes in mid-season, brought his team back into the playoff picture, made the coaching change. I think that all came into part.
And somehow they knew that Murray, the goaltender, was going to be that solid in the playoffs for them. That they got lucky there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Fleury was there all playoffs. Do they win the cup? I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a question you can't answer.
It's a question you can answer.
Yeah.
But you did pick Murray as your playoff all-star goalie.
Yep.
So, yeah, he was a big factor for that. All right, let's move on. Those are pretty much the main awards. Lady Byng Trophy, Kopitar. I think we pretty much went over that with the points.
Yep.
He was an obvious choice just because, again, points versus penalty minutes. Easy pick. All right. Hockey Hall of Fame. The inductees, they came out. Number 1, Eric Lindros. So finally, Eric is going into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yep. 6 years he had to wait.
And is it just the way he was as a player? People felt he wasn't the nicest guy out there? Or was it just because of the injuries and just not enough seasons in the NHL?
I think that's what it was. But it should, the way I think of Hockey Hall of Fame, if you dominated at some point in your career, if you were a top player, at some point in your career, you should be at least thought of for the Hall of Fame. And he was dominant for many years before he got all his concussions and injuries. He was a 1.36 point per game player before any of his injuries.
I still thought, being as a Leaf fan, he was still pretty good in Toronto.
Yeah,
he was,
and that wasn't even his.
That was near the end.
Yeah, imagine that, but much better in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
he just dominated with the Flyers, and he's such a big guy.
The Legion of Doom.
Yeah,
Leclerc, Lindros, and Renberg.
And this was before concussions were a big deal.
Yeah,
and he probably wouldn't have played nearly as much as he did with all the protocols and dark rooms and concussion knowledge now. They would have sat him out far longer than what he ever did when he did play. It's too bad. Wish he had a full career.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Growing up in Brampton, I have a lot of Indian friends. It was a huge thing for most of them, for some reason, to get Eric Lindros jerseys. It's hilarious. I even had one.
Huh.
So, I don't know. He was really popular in Brampton, and a lot of people had his jersey. It was pretty cool. He was power forward. Sergei Makarov, huge for Russia in international hockey. Came over in, I believe, 89 to the Flames, and I was an instant fan just because I know my background is Russian, and I liked him, and he was great. He was fun to watch for the fans in Calgary. He's a very popular player. So he didn't play that long here, but again, being of the amazing Red Army's Russian 5 and the KML line, he did a lot for Russia.
Yeah.
Then we have Pat Quinn, and he's been around hockey for a long, long time. And same here. I think he did a pretty good job with the Leafs. It was kind of weird. At a point, I thought maybe he's too old school for the current team, in the late 90s there for the Leafs, for what he was trying to do with Sundin and them. But he's still a good coach, and he took them to the semifinals, the conference finals. And he was a great coach. And then we have Rogie Vachon, and I think it was Darren Pang that said he never would have been who he was in the net in his career if it wasn't for a goalie like Vachon. Yep. Huge. 3 times Stanley Cup winning goalie.
Yeah, how long did he have to wait to get inducted to the Hall of Fame?
Seems like forever.
Yeah, he waited years and years and years.
Well, congratulations, gentlemen. They're in the Hall of Fame. Okay. Las Vegas expansion draft. Paul, you were telling me some weird rules. Do you remember?
Yeah, last episode we talked about them being able to trade draft picks to prevent Las Vegas from drafting one of your players.
That's crazy in my opinion. If it was a first round pick or Joffrey Lupul, I'd go first round pick all day, any day.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Toronto's not going to give Las Vegas a first round pick and not want Lupul to leave. It's going to be like the Fleury situation.
Yeah.
It's going to be very, very seldomly used, but it is there. And they want it to be done before the expansion draft even begins. So there's going to be a lot of backroom talking, trying to come up with deals, quiet handshakes and stuff. So it might get interesting, and it's going to ruin all these fans that want to play build the Las Vegas, draft the Las Vegas, because there's going to be so many backdoor deals that we don't even know about until they eventually come out.
Where did you find that? It was on the Cat Friendly?
Nope, I forget where. I heard it from somewhere.
No, but moving around the players, you can do it yourself online.
Yeah, I think Cat Friendly has one, and I think General Fanager has one. They both have one.
Yeah, we were trying to do it. What teams? I was like on Calgary or something. Columbus for sure.
Yeah, you have to.
And I was like, yeah, just get rid of the whole team.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep any of these players.
Yeah, I don't think it was Calgary.
No, it wasn't Calgary because they got quite a bit of
all the young kids. Yeah, I don't remember who it was. But we're going to do a full episode.
We will.
We will do all the protections.
I think we're going to do one probably right before the season starts.
Yeah.
Right when we kind of know what teams have under contract.
Yeah, signings and all that stuff gets finalized.
It makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because right now there's a lot of names that are
UFAs
on their lists.
Yeah.
So we know a lot of these players will
be at the end of the summer. We'll probably do something.
All right. So we will have that Las Vegas expansion draft episode near the end of the summer. Okay. So the other recent big trades that we want to talk about, there were a lot of them. I don't even know. Did we even talk about the Chicago trade with Teravainen?
No, we didn't.
That's the cash-strapped Hawks now, that they're giving away good young talent. Have they ever had to do something like that? Maybe Leddy. But I still think Teravainen's, at this point, projected to be higher than what they thought Leddy could have been at that time, I feel. So, at least they got, that was the whole thing. They had to give Bickle's contract, but then they got Teravainen for a second-round pick this year and a third-round pick next year. So, that's a tough one.
Yeah. And everybody thought it was to re-sign Andrew Shaw.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen, so they're like, why didn't we keep Teravainen? But that's how cap-strapped the Blackhawks are. They just have no money to spend.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Goligoski to Arizona for the Stars' 5th. And this is what I usually expect when you're just getting the rights of a player early before they actually are a UFA.
Yeah.
A 5th in 2016 for Goligoski. And have they signed him?
Yes, they have signed him.
They did.
Yeah.
So,
to a 5-year, 4.75, I think. Don't know the exact number, but it was 5 years, I believe.
5.5 almost. $27 million over 5 years. Goligoski, 30 years old, so he's getting his money.
He'll be a first line guy with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. It's a good one too.
That was a good pickup for the Arizona.
Yeah, they
kind of odd.
They need defensemen
because they're not the type of team that would maybe overspend. They haven't really in the past.
But new GM John Chaika.
Oh yeah, the young kid.
Yeah.
So going big for Goligoski.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I thought was weird, being a Maple Leaf fan.
Squeaky shoes.
We're in the offices of Jablam Hockey here. Not really, we're at work where we usually work, and some guy with really squeaky shoes is
really
walking
squeaky
by.
Shoes. That was really, really weird.
Okay. So, I'm not a fan of this move of the Leafs getting Anderson from the Ducks for a first-round pick, from the Kessel trade, basically the 30th overall, and a second round next year in 2017. I don't know. That's the highest by far I've seen any trade, acquiring for a guy who's going to be a UFA in a week.
But I think it was more of a sign and trade deal.
Well, yeah, they already had the deal in place. Obviously, as soon as the trade happened, they said it was $5 million, 5 years.
Which I think to the fans, they thought they were just getting the rights, and then they all of a sudden negotiated with but it technically was a sign and trade, and that usually is what happens. Is they sign them, then they trade them, and they get more for them. rather than have to negotiate like what Buffalo did with Jimmy Vesey. They just got his rights, and now Jimmy Vesey wants to go to free agency, and they lose a pick.
Nashville got a third for basically nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Vesey's still available.
So I don't think the Leafs really overspent because they knew they were signing him for 5 years.
Usually you still don't even get that, though, for a goalie you probably might not keep. You know, and you're not sure if he's the first or the second, 1A. Usually you don't get that still, in my opinion, in the NHL today.
Yeah, but Anderson's super young still.
He has some pretty good stats, but we'll see how it goes with the Leafs' defense, which isn't very good, and maybe more youthful, hopefully, this fall or next fall. But I don't know, just in my opinion, it was a little too high. Obviously, yeah, that could have been the factor with the sign and trade. But they're also not really ready yet, in my opinion. They're not a contender, so why go and get a pretty good goalie now? Because they could go next year or the following year, maybe in 2 to 3 years down the road when they're more ready.
Yeah, but you got to look at the UFAs too. Who's available next year?
Yeah.
Like Ben Bishop, but he might get traded. Like, I think they had to jump on Anderson if they liked him, and I guess they like him because they're going to have him for 5 years. And
then there's two things that can happen during this season. One, he's really good and he steals like 5 to 10 games, right? Mm-hmm. Is that a good thing if you're still wanting a top 5 pick maybe? Or he's really bad and then what? And then you're like, oh, well, this contract's not very good. So, I don't know. Just, in my opinion, timing is maybe a little off. And, yeah, I wasn't a fan of that with the high picks. But, all right. Well, Florida also gets Yandel for a 6th round pick from the Rangers just for his negotiating rights, and they sign him. So he's top dog now in Florida, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Yandel's pretty old, and it looked like, you know, they were only using him as that offensive defenseman role. That 4th, 5th guy for the Rangers, and on the power play. So now it seems like, especially with that contract, he's more of the top line guy. Him and Ekblad.
Yeah.
So they're going to rely more on Ekblad being the defensive type guy and Yandel being the offensive guy as that pairing.
Yeah, they basically just upgraded Brian Campbell to a younger puck mover.
Campbell was pretty good, though.
Yeah, well, I think Yandel's a little bit better.
It just seems like his decline was happening pretty quickly over the last 2 years. I don't know.
I think that's just because he went to the Rangers.
And they misused him? I don't know. I thought they used him properly.
Yeah, but when he left Arizona, he was
still very good.
He was on the same pace as Oliver Ekman-Larsson. It was either Larsson or Yandel to give up, and they gave up Yandel because OEL was a bit younger. But they both were top talent, so I just think he didn't fit with the New York Rangers system. And he's going to be awesome in Florida.
All right. Montreal does the Lars Eller to Washington and picks up their second in 2017 and 2018. But then with the Hawks, they get Shaw for 2 seconds, right? And then they sign him up for the $3.9 million. So they're basically giving up on a lanky Eller who's not putting off points for them for a gritty Shaw.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. I still think Montreal still needs a lot more offense.
Yeah.
And Shaw, in my opinion, I love Shaw. He's great. He works hard. But it's a little bit of an overpayment, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He was being played on the top 2 lines for the Hawks once in a while and picking up points because he's playing with Taves or Kane.
Yeah.
He probably won't get that, especially if he's, you know, 3rd line Montreal and they're not very good at scoring goals.
Yeah, he's going to have to play a top 2 line with the $3.9 million cap Like, they got to play him in top 6, and I don't know if he fits there.
Do they want Galchenyuk with a gritty guy? Then where's
maybe.
Gallagher? They put Shaw and Gallagher together? That's crazy.
Yeah, 2 super annoying guys.
Yeah, all right. Calgary's happy, I guess. They got Elliott, one of the better goalies in the NHL the last few years.
Yeah, and makes them a playoff contender again.
For only a second from St. Louis. So Anderson won. If you're just comparing those two, seems like Calgary gets a bit of a steal here.
I still like Anderson better.
Yeah, he's older, obviously. He's a fair bit older, and he's only in for the 1 year, but it's a good cap hit. How much is he going to make more the next year? Maybe not that much more, unless he blows everybody away.
Yeah,
but that's a good move for the Flames for sure.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's profiting from his environment playing on a Hitchcock team.
Defensive blues.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with Calgary, and with Galutin coming in there, I don't know what his system's going to be all about, but I have a feeling Elliott's not going to be the guy. I think he's just filling in for one more year, and maybe Kari Ramo resigns, maybe young John Gillies comes up.
Maybe. Hopefully those work, but...
Yeah.
All right. Buffalo and Florida exchanged defensemen here with Kulikov and Pysyk. Also picks. Buffalo gets that earlier second rounder.
Yeah, they move up.
And they got the lower second and third. But Kulikov does look like the better defenseman. That's a pretty good move for Buffalo for getting Kulikov for Pysyk. Obviously, now that Florida has Yandel and Ekblad, now they can put, Mark maybe as a fourth, fifth man, and that'll work for them. I liked Kulikov. I thought he was very underrated, especially if you watched Florida the last few years. In the playoffs, he looked pretty good on their back end. But maybe, like I was saying, during the playoffs, Campbell seemed to be more against Tavares, and so his numbers didn't look as good. And Kulikov played more against the second line of the Islanders, so his stats looked a little better. But, I don't know. Maybe it's a good move by Buffalo. Maybe they pick up one or two good UFAs, and they might be an okay team, taking the next step. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
A lot of rumors out there. You never know what could happen. And Paul, how did you like Bo Bennett going to New Jersey?
Yeah, I'm alright with it. He was an RFA. He's injury prone. Maybe he needs a new environment to do well, and maybe he will do well in New Jersey. But I'm alright with it. We got a bunch of young guys. Penguins got Sheary, Rust, Kuhnhackl.
Yep.
We got Jake Gunsel in the system. We got Teddy Bluger. I think we're all right getting rid of Bennett. Yeah, he was a first-round guy, but...
Seemed like a few of those, guys that haven't maybe taken the next step, or they maybe send them in a new direction. Maybe they wake up and start playing better. Jack Campbell from the Stars goes to the Kings for Nick Ebert. So, Campbell, what they expected all out of Campbell to be the next big thing.
Yeah, him and Jacob Markstrom came out at the same time, and they were the next elite goalies.
So maybe LA and their goaltending coaching and working with Quick and everybody, maybe they can take him to the next level. I like this move by the Leafs. They got Kirby Reichel.
Yeah.
For Harrington.
Fleeced him.
Yeah. Harrington, in my opinion, projects as maybe a fifth defenseman.
Yeah.
And a conditional fifth, and I think that's only if they don't sign or keep Harrington or something like that. So that's a steal. Reichel could really be a good power forward on the top two lines type role. Something like that for the Leafs.
Yeah, he's NHL ready, so he definitely could fit in.
He really wants it. And then the Flames and Senators trade off with Alex Chason and Patrick Seeloff.
Good old AHL trade. Woohoo.
Well, Chason looked like he could have been
He's not going to make the Flames roster.
Yeah, they got a lot of kids, and we'll see.
He'll be playing in Stockton.
All right. Any other big signings you want to talk about, Paul? First, I want to interrupt you. And did we talk about this yet? Cam Ward resigns with Carolina for less than half his previous salary.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen this happening ever before.
No, not that I can recall.
This is crazy. But, like as a lot of people said, he's making all this money. That first big, huge contract, this next one, all off one playoff run.
Yeah, well, he did win, so.
So, he's making all that money from just that, 2.5 months of amazing hockey.
That's why I'm kind of scared about the whole Matt Murray taking over in Pittsburgh, because
you never know.
He's got a lot of similarities to Cam Ward way back when. So
interesting. So they're keeping him. They don't know which direction they're going to move in yet, and they're going to go with the tandem of Ward and Locke, at least. I don't know. In my opinion, why resign him if you're kind of in rebuild mode? I guess there's nobody else better out there.
They don't. Nobody else better. Nobody in the system ready. Like they got Nedeljkovic coming, but he's not.
They want to give him 2-3 years.
Yeah, he's not. He'll be 2-3 years away. Yeah,
that's the plan.
But when he does get to that point, 2 to 3 years, Nedeljkovic is going to be a great NHL goalie.
All right. What else?
A couple other quick signings. Philip Forsberg gets 6 years, $6 million per year. It's a pretty good contract for Nashville.
Yeah, he's a huge stud.
Yeah.
For a first line, good, amazing scorer. Yeah. That's a good deal.
Yeah, he's a little streaky, so he's got to fix that. But
the double hat tricks.
Yeah. We mentioned the Andrew Shaw 3.9 for 6 years, way too much. Seth Jones gets 6 years, $5.4 million with the Blue Jackets. That's not too shabby, but that puts the Jackets in deep cap issues.
Yeah, like where's the bridge deal here?
Yeah,
he's really young.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he shouldn't be getting this kind of contract this early.
And they signed him, and then they had to buy out Tootin, and they had to buy out Jared Bowl. Just a mess. Just horrible cap management by the Blue Jackets.
They seem lost. I don't know.
Yeah. We mentioned the Steven Stamkos contract, 8 years, 8.5 yesterday. Thomas Hertl gets 2 years, $3 million per year, which is that's not too bad for Thomas Hertl. He'll be a top six guy.
That's kind of his bridge deal.
Yeah, yeah. Torrey Krug today on Thursday signed 4 years, $5.25 million for Torrey Krug.
Wow.
He signed his bridge and then he got paid big time money this time around.
There you go, and he deserves it. He played steady hockey, putting up some good numbers.
Yeah.
So.
And then Tom Wilson, 2 years for $2 million. That's more like the Andrew Shaw contract.
Yeah.
It should be in what Andrew Shaw is making.
2.5 or less.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, well, it's still big money, but it's solid for them. And even like Drew Miller getting $1 million.
Yeah.
The role player, he's doing his job. That's kind of the contract you want. Yeah, Yandel, 6.4 almost, 6.35 for 7 years. I don't know. I still think that's high and it's a little too long, in my opinion, for maybe how he's been playing lately. I liked him. I picked him in the playoffs to do well. I think it was the previous year. He played pretty well for the Rangers. But again, he was always on the second or third defensive pairing. So he didn't play against top lines. He didn't have to defend hard. And when you're paying him that much, I expect you to match up against Ovechkin, against Crosby, and do a good job, in my opinion. And I can't see that happening right now with Yandel, the way I've seen him play the last 2 years.
No, but if you put him on the second line, so say like you put Ekblad with like Matheson is going to be probably a top two pairing, and then put Yandel second and play him against everybody's seconds, then he's going to be worth that money because he's going to be putting up offensive numbers and not having to worry about playing as much defense.
Then, in my opinion, you're paying too much for a second-line defenseman. And at that
Yeah, but
contract length.
He's going to be running your power play. He's QBing your power play with that money. That's what that money's for.
He better be putting up 50 points plus next year then.
Past 3 years, he's had the most power play points as a defenseman.
And that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
They wanted points on the power play, and that was a big miss for them in that first round versus the Islanders.
Yep.
And I think that was their goal. But I don't know. In my opinion, a little tough contract there. All right. And
free agency.
Yep. Well, my list of top 5 players that I think are going to be interesting to see out there. First off, obviously, there's no Stamkos. So next off, we got to go with Okposo.
Yeah.
I think we briefly said this last episode, but I would not be surprised to see him get $7 million. $7 million more.
I think that's a lot for him, but
it'll shock me if he gets less than 6. That's for sure.
Yeah, I bet he's like a 5.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked if he gets 5.5. I think he's at 6.5 to 7.
That's an overpayment big time, I think.
Yeah. So, and then years, same thing. 5 years, right?
Yeah, I'd say 5 years.
We're looking at 5 years. If somebody could give him that extra year or two, though, it's out there. He's the best available thing, right? Is there anybody even remotely close to his numbers? His numbers almost match up with Stamkos. Points per game. So people went out and they wanted to spend $9 million or plus on Stamkos, and Tampa, people believe, and I believe it too, it was a bargain deal getting him at 8.5.
Yeah.
Right? Cap friendly, you would think. I don't know. I will not be surprised if somebody picks up Okposo for 7 in the next day or two.
Well, let's hope it's...
And then there's Backes. He's, as well, I'm expecting somebody to give him $6 million plus.
Man, you think everybody's spending lots of money.
Didn't you? You don't think so at all?
No, I don't.
So you're expecting Backes for $5 million?
Yep. Maybe even a little less. Maybe
even less.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you see how well he played in the playoffs, Paul? Were you watching?
Yeah.
Were you not watching St. Louis?
No, I wasn't really watching St. Louis, but
he was pretty much their best player. He stood
up.
What
did he do during the season, though?
That doesn't matter. Guys make their careers off playoffs. You've seen that. We just talked about Cam Ward, Joel Ward. The list goes on of people named Ward, how well they've done in the postseason.
He did one postseason of good hockey.
Joel Ward?
No, it's David Backes.
Oh, well, he did it, and he did it at the right time. He's the UFA now.
Yeah.
He's going to get money. He's going to get his $6 million. And then we got Lucic. He's going to get his $6 million, too.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's going to get $6 million. He's going to the Oilers for $6 million. Is he not?
There's big rumors that he's going to the Oilers.
Good chance he's going there. They need to make room on the left wing. Let's move out Taylor Hall. We'll exchange him for a good young defenseman, and we'll put Lucic there. Some grit, power forward, and a guy who can put up 25 goals or plus. So.
$7 million is a lot. Oh, man. I think
the cap's going to go up next year. Maybe didn't go up as much this year.
But it wasn't supposed to go up this year, so by all means, it doesn't have to go up next year.
This thing keeps on going up, though.
It wasn't supposed to this year. They bought into their escrow. The NHLPA bought into their escrow to get it. So I don't think it's gonna.
Yeah. All right. Well, a few more here. Louis Eriksson.
You want to pay him $6 million?
Oh, I don't think he's gonna get $6 million.
Okay.
But...
Phew. Oh man. If you would have said that, I would have threw my headset down and walked out of the room.
All right, $6 million. He's gonna get $6 million.
No way. I'm out.
So he's gonna get 4.5, maybe 5. How many goals? He had a lot of goals last year. He's worth it.
30 goals last year.
Boom, 30-goal guy. How is he not making more than $5 million?
Okay, I'm okay with $5 million.
Oh well, what about 5.5? What about
maybe
5.75?
Yeah.
What about 6?
Yeah.
5.9, 5.9.
No.
He's going somewhere. I don't know. The Bruins are maybe trying to keep him, but we'll see what happens. I don't know.
He had a 30-goal season, a 22 before that, a 10, a 12, a 26, a 27.
He did it at the right time.
Oh, man.
And then there's Eric Stahl. Where is Stahl going to go?
He's going to get an $8 million from
Minnesota.
Arizona. He's not going to Minnesota.
He's not going to Minnesota?
No, he's going to go to Arizona. He'll go with Shane Doan, and they'll have their fun in Coyotes uniforms. Or he'll go back to the Hurricanes because he likes Carolina.
The Wild bought out Vanek. They might need another guy, too.
They're going to overspend for another aging player, and then
somebody's
buy
going
him
to
out
overspend
in
for Stahl
3 years from now.
I don't know. If Stahl doesn't mind signing for a little bit less, maybe he goes to a contender.
Yeah, maybe.
So get an older type player, bridge deal.
Man, he's only 31.
Yeah,
that's awful.
Only 31.
He's old. He's considered old.
He's considered old the way he's played the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
It seems like he's past his prime a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And had way too long of a contract that he wasn't playing as an $8.25 million player.
Yep.
So he got bit by the huge contracts that everybody likes to sign. I'm so glad Penguins kind of stay out of the free agency frenzy because...
Well, when you have so much locked up in
I'm all right
those guys...
I would rather that than spend $7 million on Okposo.
It's going to happen. All right. Defensemen, I don't know. There's not many big names out there.
Maybe Brian Campbell.
Yeah, maybe Brian Campbell. Again, Squeaky Shoes.
Oh, man.
Squeaky Shoes, what are you
doing? Squeaky Shoes is back. Oh, it's so distracting.
Yeah. Campbell, yeah, he's going to go somewhere. We'll see. Maybe he'll take a pay cut and go back to the Hawks. No.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
Yep. And there's Ham Hughes. I don't know. I still think he might resign with the Canucks. They seem like that kind of team that they're not ready to move on.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I like Ham Hughes, but he's past his prime as well.
Yeah.
He's not as versatile. He doesn't put up the points like he could have. But he's still good, pretty good defensively in his own end. He's more of a second pairing now. He's not a top pairing really anymore.
Where's your boy Chris Russell going?
Hey, he blocks shots and he hits guys. So he's going somewhere, and he's gonna get a decent contract.
$7 million. By the
he's getting $7 million. No, but he's gonna get $4 at least. $4 million at least. And with goaltending, since Elliott's and Anderson's been signed, and there's not that much out there, but there still is Optimus Rhyme, James Reimer.
Oh, jeez. Nobody needs a goalie.
So is he
sorry about your luck,
out of luck then?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Where's he go? Who needs a goalie? Who even needs a veteran backup?
And he's had pretty good numbers the last year or so. So that's tough. If there was a spot available, he would have made at least $4 million, in my opinion, Reimer. If there was a spot available for a starter job.
Yeah,
but there isn't.
No, but everybody's got a goalie. We went through the list when we were looking at Ben Bishop trade rumors, and nothing. Everybody's got a goalie they're kind of happy with. Because Carolina was on that list, but they re-signed Ward. Now they got their Ward and Lack combo. There literally is no spot for a goalie. Like he's not making $4 million because he's going to be a backup somewhere. He's going to need to take a 1-year deal.
1 year, $1 million.
Yeah.
Yep. That's.
But then next year's UFA goalies there's a lot of them. Elliott, Miller.
They're not that great then. Elliott's all right, but he's gonna get even older.
Yeah. So it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Sorry about your luck, James.
All right, and that's it for this episode. We'll be back next week later on when we talk about the first week of free agency, who signed and where. Stay tuned for that. And again, if you haven't, please go on JablamHockey.com. We've got all our episodes there. We've got our old team ISOs for the season for all the teams. And of course, go on iTunes and rate us. Write some comments down. And we're also still on Twitter. I'm Russian98. And Paul?
At Zwambag, ZWAMBAG.
All
Enjoy
right.
free agency, everybody.
Yes. It's going to be fun. There's going to be people overspending, Paul. It's going to happen.
Okposo for $7 million.
That's right.
Bye.